Good morning, students. Welcome back to Programming for Problem Solving course. In our last session, we have completed the pointers concept. We have seen what are pointers and how these pointers are helpful in programming C programs. Okay. In today's session, we'll be discussing another important concept in C language, that is files. Okay. So, what are these files and why we use these files in C language, and without files can we write, without files can we implement the applications that we're going to see, the role, the importance of files we're going to see in today's session. Okay. So, in your fifth unit, we have two concepts. We need to discuss two concepts, that is pointers, which we have already completed, and the file handling that we are going to discuss from now on. So, I will be taking another 2 to 3 sessions before we complete this files concept. Okay. So, file like other programming constructs, what we started earlier, like we discussed about arrays, then we discussed about structures, we also discussed pointers, your variables. All these programming constructs or all these elements, they are the collection of data. Generally, why we create a variable, why we create an array, why we create a pointer in our programming, in the sense to store the data. Basically, the basic intention behind creating these programming constructs, are the basic need in creating these programming constructs is nothing but to store the data into them. So, here when we are talking about files, a file is also collection of data only. Okay, it is a collection of related data, we can say. File is it is the collection of related data, but the term external, which you need to focus over here, as we said, the file is an external collection of data. Why we are using this term external over here? Okay. So, before going to that, before explaining the meaning of the term, let me just give you some overview regarding how the data will be stored in our programs. So, generally, whatever variables we create, whatever structures we create, whatever arrays we create, whatever data we store into these things, the data is temporary data. So, what do you mean by temporary? Temporary data in the sense, if you close the program execution, or due to some reason, if your program gets terminated, those reasons may be the power cut issue, maybe the some internal hardware issue, whatever it may be. All these are the reasons, because of that your system may go down. Okay, the system may shut down, or system may what we call get into a situation where running the programs is not possible. So, at that time what will happen? Whatever data you stored inside the variables, inside arrays, inside structures, the data will be deleted. So, if your computer goes down, if your program execution goes down, your data will be lost. Okay. This is what temporary data means. Whatever data we are storing, we are losing the data when the power to the computer, or when the computer is going down, when the program execution is going down. So, then yes, in real time, if you are implementing the applications, then if you are losing the data inside those applications, nobody will prefer such type of applications, such type of programs, such type of softwares, isn't it? So, definitely we need to find a solution where we can store the data permanently, and this files concept is one such solution. I am not saying this is the only solution, this is one such solution. So, using files, you can store the data permanently inside your computer, and this files term, the term file, it is not new to us. Being a software professional and being a technical student, I'm not saying computer science, technical student, the file concept is not new to us. We are familiar with these files. In our day-to-day lives, we use these files in our mobile phones. When you are downloading something from the internet, we call it as a file only. If you are uploading something to the internet, we call it as a file only. Isn't it? So, file is nothing but it is the collection of data, collection of related data, and which is permanent in nature. It does not depend on the working of the computer, whether the computer is working, whether the computer is in on condition or whether the computer is in off condition. In both the situations, your data which you have saved inside a file remains permanent, or we can say the persistent data. Whatever data we are storing inside a file, that is persistent data, irrespective of the time span, irrespective of the condition of the system, your data will remain permanent. Your data will remain available, we can say. So that is the importance of data. Okay. Then why we are calling this data as an external data, external collection? Why we have given that external term over there? That meaning also we need to understand. Okay, the term external means where exactly you are storing, where exactly you are saving those files, whether you are saving inside the main memory or somewhere else. See, when it comes to your variables, your arrays, your pointers, your structures, all these things we are storing inside the main memory. The reason for calling them as temporary, or the reason for losing the data, is we are storing them inside the main memory. So, as we know, random access memory or main memory, when the power goes off, it will be lost. The data what we have stored inside the main memory, it will be lost. That is the big drawback, we can say, of RAM, isn't it? So, but these files, where exactly we are storing, in the sense we are storing on the secondary device. We are not storing on the primary, but we are storing them on the secondary device. That secondary device is nothing but your CD, DVD, your hard disk, your tape. We have so many secondary devices. See here, secondary storage devices we have here. We have the hard disk, we have CD, we have DVD or other tapes. So, if you are storing your files on these things, we call these files as external collection. The reason for calling them as external collection is because we are not storing them on the primary memory, rather we are storing them on secondary devices like these. Okay. So, yes. Yeah, after knowing what is a file and after knowing where we are storing and the need for files, okay, this is one such need to maintain the data permanently. This is one such need. We have many reasons for going to these files. Okay. So, another reason, when the data size becomes too huge to handle inside your program. Okay, whatever data you are maintaining inside the program, if it becomes like a bulk, so we can't maintain the data on a primary memory, because our primary memory, our RAM, it is limited in amount. So, take an example of a banking application. We know how huge the data of banking application will be. So, is it possible to maintain that complete data on the RAM? It is not possible. We are going to have thousands of customers, their bank details, their personal details. Okay. Many things we will maintain in the banking application. So, all the data if we maintain on the RAM, and if power goes off, the data will be lost. That is the first problem. And all the data we can't maintain because it is very huge in amount. So, we can't maintain the data on the RAM. Okay. Again, we have to go for files. So, that is the second reason. If you read over here, first point, we have defined what is a file. We said a file is an external collection of related data treated as a single unit. Okay. The purpose of using a file is to keep record of data. So, to maintain the data permanently, record in the sense for future use. Okay. For future use, when I am saying record of data for future use. So, if you maintain the data temporary, we can't call it as a record of data, isn't it? Because execution stops, data will be lost. That is the problem. So, record of data in the sense permanent data. Okay. So, as the contents of a primary memory are not permanent and they will be lost when the computer is shut down. We need files to store the data permanently. This point I have already explained. Okay, your primary memory or your random access memory content, they are temporary. If the power goes down to the computer or if the computer shut down, the data inside the primary memory will be lost. Okay, so in order to maintain the data permanently, we have to go for files. Okay, so sometimes the data collection or the bulky data, we can't maintain the data inside the primary memory, then we have to go for secondary memory. Okay, so files are stored permanently in auxiliary devices. Auxiliary or secondary, both the terms give the same meaning, auxiliary or secondary. In your first unit we discussed about this one, the types of memory devices. There we said auxiliary or secondary devices. So auxiliary device, they are the permanent storage areas. Okay, so the most common secondary devices, here I have given the example. So we generally store our data on these devices. Okay, so yes, generally as we are storing the files in secondary devices, it doesn't mean that we are interacting with the secondary devices directly. Rather, whatever content we are modifying or whatever content we are updating, manipulating, that manipulations we do on the primary memory only. And after doing the manipulations, we save the content back to the secondary memory. That's the reason whenever we are opening a file, okay, if there is a possibility of power failure, let us assume you are working in your lab, okay, and if there is no backup in that lab, so people used to say to you to save the file, isn't it? Save the file, otherwise what will happen? The data, I mean whatever data you are working on, it will be lost. The reason for saving the file, the reason for making the time to time what we call savings to your file is that because the primary memory content is temporary, and if the power goes down, unfortunately, then what will happen? Your data will be lost. That's the reason we are saving the data permanently on the secondary storage devices. So if you save your file, ultimately what will happen? Saving is nothing but you are sending the data from primary memory to secondary memory. Okay. So, and this data movement from the primary memory to the secondary memory, it uses special work areas known as a buffer. Buffer is nothing but it is a temporary area where the data will be stored, okay, for temporary time. Okay, so because your primary memory is too fast and your secondary memory is too slow to handle the data, so in order to synchronize this primary memory and the secondary memory, we need these type of buffers in between. So what is the purpose of using a buffer? Means it will hold the data in order to synchronize between a slow device and a fast device. In order to synchronize the data, we use these type of buffers. Okay, so buffers acts like a synchronizer. Here I have given the elaboration on that one. Buffer, what it is doing, it acts like a synchronizer between the physical devices and the memory. Here our physical devices, they are the slow devices, and your main memory, as we know, it is a fast. It is fast. So in order to synchronize between the physical devices and the main memory, we need buffer synchronizers in between. So buffer is a temporary area where the data will be holded or where the data will be stored temporarily. Okay. So in order to process, I mean, one important thing we have to know inside a file, that is EOF. We also call it as end of file. Okay. End of file. EOF is nothing but end of file. It is a special character maintained inside the file to indicate the end of file. Because when we discussed about strings, there I explained you the delimiter, the purpose of using the delimiter inside a string. The delimiter we are maintaining as the last character inside the character array, because there is no special data type to maintain strings in C language. So how we are maintaining strings? We are creating the character arrays only for strings, and at the end of the character array, we are taking this \n as the special character. So if you see the \n at the end of the character array, you have to consider that string as a you have to consider that character array as a string. Your compiler will also treat that character array ended with a delimiter as a string only. So how this delimiter, how this backslash n, that is the null character, is helpful inside the character array, in the sense, in order to indicate the end of the string. In that same way, in order to indicate the file endpoint, because if you don't put the endpoint, how the compiler will understand where to stop the reading, where to conclude the reading? Means by reading this end of line character only, the compiler will understand that it has reached the end of file. Okay. So we are maintaining a special character, end of file character, EOF at the end of the file to indicate the end of the file. Okay, to indicate that here we are ending, or here we are stopping the file. Okay, and moreover, don't you bother about this EOF. Your compiler will do the modifications automatically. Your computer, your system, your compiler, they will do the modifications automatically, and they will add the end of file EOF character at the end of the file. We are not going to add it. But whenever we are manipulating, suppose if you are reading the data from the file and you are writing the code in such a way to read the characters from the file or read the data from the file, then what will happen? We have to terminate our while loop. Okay, in such a way that it should not reach the end of file. If it is reaching the end of file, there only we are stopping the reading process. Okay, end of file is the terminator of the file. So how we defined it? It is the terminator of the file, which indicates the completion of data processing in a file. In order to indicate that you have completed reading the file, okay, this EOF character is helpful. End of file character is helpful. Okay, the EOF, who is adding this EOF? The EOF will be automatically read and supplied to the program, and it is the responsibility of the programmer to keep track of it. Where exactly we are, in between or at the end, at the beginning of the file, where exactly we are. So it is our responsibility. We need to maintain the track of files cursor, file marker. That also we are going to discuss very soon. What is a file marker? Okay, we are keeping in our view the marker, but the end of file, it will be taken care by the compiler. Okay. Okay, why files needed? Few of the reasons I have already explained. Here we will see some other reasons. The first point, when a program is terminated, the entire data will be lost. Okay, and storing in a file will preserve your data even if the program terminates. Program termination is nothing but when you are stopping the execution of the program, when you are coming out of the program. Okay, that is nothing but terminating the program. So if you terminate the program, all the data will be lost. If you save the data inside the file, even if your program gets terminated, your data will remain permanent. Okay, that is the first point. And second point, the quantity of data. If your data will become bulky, okay, bulky in the sense difficult to handle, so that data we can't maintain inside the main memory. So there is a need to send the data to the secondary memory. That secondary memory, when you are storing the data inside the secondary memory, directly you can't put. You have to create a file and you have to organize your data inside that file, and that file you can keep on the secondary storage. Okay. So if you have to enter a large amount of data, it will take a lot of time to enter them all. Okay. So if you have a file containing all the data, you can easily access the data using few commands in C. Okay, maintenance of large data in the sense not only storing but even giving as an input. Suppose if you have to give input a large collection of data, suppose let us say some 1000 employees data you have to give as an input to the program. So are we going to type all the 1000 employees details on the keyboard? It is not possible, isn't it? It is not practical generally. So what we do, we will take a file where all the data of employees is stored, and we attach that file to our application, and we type some commands in our C language so that it will read that complete data into the application. Okay, so we follow this approach basically. Yes, with the help of files, another important advantage is the portability of data. Portability of data is nothing but you can easily carry your data from one computer to another computer. Inside the variables what we have, inside an array what we have, inside a structure what data we have, that we can't see and we can't access. But if you have the data inside a file, that file you can easily copy to some pen drive and you can take that pen drive to some other computer and you can open that file over there as well, isn't it? If you store the data permanently, if you store the data on secondary device, that data will become portable from one computer to another computer. You can carry, because a failure of the computer or execution of the program, your data is not dependent on the execution of the program now. Even if the computer fails, even if the program execution stops, your data is persistent. So you can carry the data from one computer to another computer. So types of files, there are generally two types of files. One is a text file and another one is the binary file. So what is a text file? So we know it whenever you are text file in the sense a human readable file. You can open that file and you can read the content from that file and it is completely understandable to the end user. Okay. So text files will be in human readable form, but whereas the binary files, they are not in human readable form. So if you open the image file using the notepad, what will happen? You will get some different types of characters over there. It is completely in unreadable form, isn't it? So binary files they are completely unreadable to the end user. End user can't read it. Okay, there are some special type of applications. Using those applications, we can open those files, but generally to maintain the privacy or to maintain the data in a confidential manner, we go for these binary files. Okay, going for binary files to maintain the data, going for text files to maintain the data. In both the ways, we can maintain the data, but using binary files, we will get the security as well. Okay, because nobody can open those binary files and nobody can check the details what those files are having. Okay, that is the advantage of having binary files in our programming. Okay, so whatever programming we do, because we are doing only for the practice purpose and we are really not developing any kind of real-time application, so we go with text files only because they are easy to understand. We can see practically how the stuff is moving from your program to the hard drive and from hard drive to your program, how the content is moving, we can easily see that one. So because of that reason, whatever we do, whatever files concept programs we discuss, we do on text files only. So text files are the normal .txt files that you can easily create using Notepad or any simple text editor. Not only Notepad, we can use any other simple text editor in order to create our text files, and they will be in .txt format. Okay. Text files are the normal txt files that you can create easily using Notepad or any other simple text editor. So generally text file consists of sequence of characters divided into lines. Okay, and that line terminator, what we are using in the sense, we are using this new line character \n. Okay, so when we open those files, you can easily see the content, whatever you have written inside the text file, that content you can easily see, and you can easily edit or delete that content. Okay. Yes, here this point. This we have seen. Generally text file consists of sequence of characters divided into lines, and that lines are nothing but the new line characters. Okay, \n. Okay, when you open these files, you will see the content within the file as plain text. As I said, there is no security on the data. Anybody can open the text file and anybody can read the content within the file as plain text. You can easily edit or delete the content. Whenever you want, you can change the content because it is in human readable form. Okay. Editing and deleting is very easy because all the content whatever we are storing on a text file, it is in human readable form. Okay. And maintaining these .txt files, they take minimum effort. That's the reason I told you whatever programs we do using these files, we go with this text files only because the maintenance is very easy. Okay. So, and we are at the practice stage. We are not at development stage. We are at practice stage. So, it is better to go with the minimum effort. Okay. If you take binary files, and if I take a binary file and if I start giving a lecture on that one, I mean how to edit the binary file, how to store the content, how to retrieve the content, you will get confused. You will not understand. So, that's the reason we are doing everything on readable, editable, deletable files. Those are nothing but our .txt files. Okay. And provide least security measure. Okay. Least security. Why there is no security? Because anybody is opening and they are checking the data. Okay, because of that reason, and the data what we are maintaining inside a text file, it is in readable form. So, anybody can read, anybody can get the content. Okay. And takes bigger storage space, and as there is no what we call the compression format for text file, whatever data we store inside a text file, it will be stored as it is. We can't apply the compression methods so that to reduce the size of .txt files. Okay. This is one of the biggest problem we can say in today's computer world, maintaining the log files. Log files, generally what are log files? Inside a computer, whenever you do some action, suppose you are trying to log in, you are trying to log out, you are creating some file, you are deleting some file, all those actions will be recorded inside the log files, and those actions will be recorded in .txt form only. All your log files will be in .txt format only. The reason for maintaining the log files in .txt format, so that anybody can open, I mean the administrator who is responsible for maintaining the state of the system, he can open and he can check who has performed a wrong action on the computer, isn't it? So, what is happening inside the operating system or inside the computer, in the sense, over the time the size and the the content and the size of these log files will go huge and huge. Okay. And as there is no compression method can be applied to these log files, they will become, over the time they will become like an headache to the administrator. Okay. So, the size to store these txt file, it is bigger when compared to the binary files. Okay. Here you can see the binary files, the extension for binary files is .bin. Okay. And instead of storing data in plain text format, generally what we have done in case of .txt files, here what we are doing, we are storing the data in plain text format, and over here in binary files, we store the data as a sequence of data values, okay, such as integers, real, complex, using their memory representation. We are not storing them directly using their memory representation, we are storing them inside our files. Okay. They can hold higher amount of data, okay, and are not readable easily. Nobody can read the data easily. We need to apply some techniques, we need to apply some conversion codes on the data, then only, we can apply that binary file to an application, then only we can read. Directly opening and reading the content, nobody will understand what is there inside it. Okay. So, if you want to see that, just try opening an image using the notepad. Just open an image using notepad, you can see the binary content over there. The complete content will be in unreadable form. Okay, humans cannot read that one and humans cannot understand that one. Then when can we understand that image? If we open that image with a proper application, with proper image viewer application, then only we can understand it as an image. If you open that same image with the help of notepad, you will not understand anything, what is there stored on that image. Okay. And they provide, as the content is not readable easily, they provide a better security mechanism, we can say. The security when compared with text file is more in case of binary files. Okay, file operations, generally you think this in this way. Whenever you are going to a computer and whenever you want to perform some operation on a file, let us assume you have a text file, .txt file, and I told you to edit that file. I told you to add some content to it. So what you will do? What first operation you will do? Okay, obviously you have to locate that file, where that file is existing. You will ask for the location. So that is nothing but locating the file. Okay, after locating, you will open that file. Okay, and let us suppose if the file is not existing at all and I told you to create a new file, then again you will ask where to create. Okay, where to create, whether I have to create on the desktop, inside documents, inside downloads, where I have to create. The location always plays a vital role. Even in opening as well as in creating a file, the location is very, very important. That is nothing but path of the file. We call it as path of file. Where exactly you have stored the file or you want to store the file. Okay, so in case of creating a file, where you want to store. In case of opening a file, where the file is existing. In both the cases, the first operation must be locating the file, and this path of a file or location of a file, it is internal to this creating a file and opening a file. First of all, we will create, and if the file is already existing, we will open. Okay, then perform the read and write operation. After opening the file, if the file is already existing, we will open it. If the file is not already existing, then we create and we open, isn't it? We create and we open. So after opening, our immediate operation will be performing reading and writing. So perform read and write operations on a file. Okay, then close the file. After performing the operations, definitely we need to close the file. Okay, all these things we will do step by step. We will see how to create a new file and how to open an existing file and how to read and how to write to a file, and finally how to close an opened file. Okay, through C programming we do all these things. Don't think that simply we drag and drop the mouse and we will open the file and we can add the content, we can save the content and we can close the file. It is not like that. Okay, here we do everything with the help of an application, with the help of an C programming application. That application who will develop? We only develop. Okay, we only develop, and with the help of that application only we will perform all these type of operations. Okay, so working with files. Yeah, the rest of the things we will discuss in our next session. I guess it is more than 40 minutes or something, 30 minutes. Okay, rest of the things we will discuss in our next session. Thank you very much.